Welcome to this video on multiplying a binomial times a binomial. By the end of this video, you should be able to use the distributive property to multiply a binomial to a binomial and combine like terms and write it in standard form. Alright, so let's take a look at our warm-up. This is what we were doing previously when we multiplied a monomial times a binomial. So this is a monomial because it's a single term, and I need to distribute it to our parentheses that comes after it. So we say 3c to the fifth times negative 2c. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. There's 5 c's here and only 1 there, so 5 plus 1 is 6. Because we want to add our exponents when we're multiplying our variables. Let's try it again, distribute it to the second term. 3c to the fifth times negative 5. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. There's 5 c's here and none over here with the 5, so it's going to stay 5c to the fifth. So we distributed. I do not see like terms because the c's have different numbers of exponents. The next thing to check for is standard form. 6 c's, then 5 c's. We're in order bigger to smaller. This is our final answer. Okay, let's take a look at the second one. So the second one's a little bit longer. This was a monomial times a binomial. Here I have a monomial times a trinomial. It's the same process, we just have to go one more step. So we're taking the monomial 5m cubed and we want to multiply it to 3m squared. So 5 times 3 is 15. M cubed times m squared will be m to the fifth. Then we're going to say 5m cubed times negative m. Remember that's really a 1 in front. So 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. There's 3 m's and 1 right there. So I have a total of 4 m's. And then 5m cubed times negative 7 will be negative 35 because 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. There's 3 m's and none right there. So it's going to stay m cubed. I look at the exponents on the variables. None of them match, so I can't combine them together. And then I just check for standard form. You want the biggest exponent, then the next biggest, then the next biggest. Descending order, we have that. So that is our final answer. So we're going to use a very similar process. It's just extended just a little bit more because what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 terms times 2 terms for the majority of what we're doing today. And so we're good at taking one term and making sure it multiplies to both terms in the second parenthesis. However, we got to go back and make sure the second term also multiplies to all of the terms in the second parenthesis. So let's just kind of take a look at this. So we're going to distribute. Let's just look at this x. This x has to multiply to x plus 4. So let's distribute it. X times x is x squared. Then we have x times 4, which will be 4x. So that was real similar to what we've done. But instead of just one term up front, I actually have 2. So what I need to do is I need to go back and get that second term. So I need to take this positive 2 right here, and I need to distribute it also to that parenthesis. So that means I have a 2 times an x, which is a positive 2x. And then I have a 2 times a 4, which is positive 8. Okay. First term, I multiplied it to the whole second parenthesis, and then I went back and got the second term. Now, I need to look. I have an x squared. I don't see any other x squareds. So it's going to remain x squared. I have a 4x and a 2x. Those are like terms. They have x to the first and x to the first. We have to add them together. 4x plus 2x will be 6x. And then the constant on the end is a plus 8. And that is our final answer. We can double check. I didn't do it out loud, but x to the second, x to the first, no x's, standard form. All right, let's try it again. Number 2, same idea. Go with the first term, and you want to multiply it to both the terms in the second parenthesis. So I have y times y, which gives me y squared. Then I have y times 1, which will be just y. See, we have the first term went to both the terms in the second, so you got to go back. This is our second term. It's positive 8. Go and multiply it to each thing. 8 times y is 8y. 8 times positive 1 is 8. Okay, look for like terms. I have a y squared. Nothing else has a squared on it, so I'm going to keep the y squared. I have, remember, that's a 1y plus 8y, so that's a plus 9y. And then I have my constant on the end who has nobody to combine with, plus 8. 2 y's, 1 y, no y's. We're in standard form. Okay. Now, let's try it with slightly bigger numbers. I think we can skip number 3 and let's go a little bit bigger numbers with number 4. Same process. First term. Make sure the first term multiplies to everything in the second parenthesis. So 3x times 2x. 3 times 2 is 6, and there's a total of 2 x's when I multiply. Then I have 3x times negative 4. So 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. There's just the 1 x there, so I'm going to bring him down. First term is multiplied to both things in the second parenthesis, so let's go back with the second term. Negative 5 times 2x is negative 10x, and negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20. Look for like terms. I have an x squared term, but no other x squared, so we have 6x squared. Then we have negative 12x minus 10x more will give us a negative 22x, and there's a positive 20 on the end with nobody to combine with. 2 x's, 1 x, no x, standard form. All right, so it's kind of like double distributing. Take the first term and distribute it to the parenthesis, then go back and get the second term and distribute it to the parenthesis. Sometimes these are written a little differently. Let's take a look at 5 and 6. 5 and 6, they're the same idea. So we have a parenthesis and a square. So let me kind of bring you back and relate this to something that you know. If I have 5 squared, that means multiply 5 to itself, and you're writing the 5 twice. 5 times 5 is the same as 5 squared. If I wrote 5 cubed, well, what that means is write 5 to multiply to itself a total of 3 times. Okay? So the exponent's telling you how many times to write something. So this exponent of 2 is saying write that whole parenthesis twice. So I'm going to write x plus 4 times x plus 4. These say the same thing. That's what they want you to do. Now, if you look at this, you'll notice it is no different than what we've already done. I have 2 terms that have to multiply to 2 terms. So let's try it. I'm going to start with just the first term, and we have x times x for a total of 2 x's, so it's going to say x squared. Then I have x times 4, which will be plus 4x. First term has multiplied to both terms in the second parenthesis, so you've got to go back and get the term you haven't sent through yet. We have not distributed the positive 4. So I have 4 times x for 4x, and then I have 4 times 4 for a positive 16. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Take a look. I have an x squared term. I have no other x squared terms. Bring him down. He's got nobody to combine with. Then I have a 4x, and I just happen to have another 4x. So 4x plus 4x is going to be 8x. And then plus 16 has nobody to combine with, so it's just going to come down plus 16. Okay, let's try it again. Number 6 is the same idea. It says the parenthesis p minus 7 has to be written twice. So we're going to write p minus 7 twice. And we're going to start distributing. Take this p and multiply it to the second parenthesis. P times p is p squared. P times negative 7 will be negative 7p. Okay, then we come back into the center, and this negative 7 has not been distributed yet. So let's do it. Negative 7 times p, negative 7p, and negative 7 times negative 7 is a positive, because negative times negative is positive, 49. We're going to look for like terms. P squared, nobody else has a p squared. Bring them down. Nobody to combine with. Then I have negative 7p minus 7 more p gives me negative 14p. And then the positive 49 has nobody else to combine with, so we're going to bring them down as is. 2 p's, 1 p, no p's. We are in standard form. Alright, hopefully we're getting that. If not, you need to go back and replay the video to make sure you complete the notes. Now I'm going to give you a couple challenge problems here. Take a look. Instead of a binomial times a binomial, here is a binomial times a trinomial. See, notice it has 3 terms. What we're going to do is we're going to work it exactly the same as we did up here, but the first term only had to multiply to 2 other terms. This time, this first term will multiply to all 3 terms, and then we'll come back and get the second term and do the same thing. So let's take a look to see how similar they are. I'm going to take that x, and it needs to multiply to everything in the second parenthesis. So we have x times x squared. That's a total of 3 x's, because there's 1 and then 2, 3. X cubed. Then we have x times 3x. Remember, there's a 1 in front of there, so 1 times 3 is 3, and there's a total of 2 x's, so we'll say x squared. Then we have x times negative 6 for negative 6x. So I took the first term and multiplied it to all 3 of the terms in the second parenthesis. Now I have not done that positive 4 yet. It's not been distributed. So we're going to take the positive 4 and we're going to do the same thing. Positive 4 times x squared will be 4x squared. Then I have positive 4 times positive 3x. That would be positive 12x. Then go back one last time. Positive 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. That one had a lot. So it's not that they're harder, they're just one more step, and you have to keep paying attention to all your details. So let's take a look. X cubed, nobody else has an exponent of 3, so it's going to stay x cubed. Then I have 3x squared, and I keep looking, well, there I have a 4x squared, and that looks like it. 3x squared plus 4x squared is 7x squared. Then I have a negative 6x and plus a positive 12x, so negative 6x plus 12x will be a plus 6x. Then I have a negative 24 for my constant. He has nobody to combine with, so he comes down as is. Just double check for standard form. We have 3 x's, 2x, 1x, and no x's. We're in descending order. There we go. That is our final answer for that. All right, let's try this one last time. Same exact process. Take the very first term, and it's got to go to all of the terms in the second parenthesis. Okay, so we have 2x times 4x squared, so 2 times 4 is 8. I have 1x here and 2 here. That means I have a total of 3 x's. Then I have 2x times negative 3x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. I have 1x and 1x for a total of 2 x's. And I haven't gotten to the end yet. I got to go one more time. 2x times negative 6 will be negative 12x. Okay, the first term is multiplied to all the terms in the second parenthesis, so we got to go back and get the term we haven't gotten yet from the first, that positive 3. Let's do the same thing. 3 times 4x squared is plus 12x squared. 3 times negative 3x is negative 9x. And then 3 times negative 6 is going to be negative 18. All right, so let's look. We got to combine like terms. I have an x cubed. I don't have anything else that's x cubed, so I'm going to say 8x cubed. Now let's look at our x squared terms. I have a negative 6x squared and a positive 12x squared. So negative 6 plus 12 is a positive 6, and we keep the x squared as is. Then I have a negative 12x minus 9 more x. Negative 12 minus 9 more would be a negative 21x. Then we have a constant of negative 18 that has nobody to combine with, which means he's not going to change. So our last thing to do is just check. I have 3 x's, 2x, 1x, and no x. We are in standard form, so that means we are done. All right, there are 10 problems to complete to put your answers into Canvas. Let me flip this over and give you a hint on a couple of these before you get started. So we're on the multiplying polynomials assignment. It's linked in Canvas on Monday, August 9th for you to go in and put your answers in. So this is from what we did on Friday. We have a monomial times a binomial and a trinomial. Okay. Then we have some binomials times binomials for these 3 problems. This one's the same kind of problem. I just wrote it a little differently. What this sentence says to do is take 3y plus 1 times 3y plus 2. Now you're going to have to multiply them out. Okay? Then I want to remind you, if you see the parenthesis with the 2 on the outside, it's saying write that parenthesis twice. So there it is once, and there it is twice. And then you're going to distribute. Same will happen on this one. This is the challenge problems, so you'll want to go back and look on the notes on the front. I just want to make one correction. That should not be an X there. That makes it way too hard for you. Just change it to be a Y, and it will be exactly what you need to do. So set this one up. That it says we want to know the product of y plus 1 times y squared plus 2y plus 4. And follow like we did on the front. All right, let me know if you have any questions. See you in class.